My name's Alex Tang. I grew up in Chicago, and educationally, I studied mechanical engineering. I have an undergrad and master's. I went to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and then I did my MBA at the University of Chicago. Today, I'm the CEO of a company called Secured Alliance Ventures, and what it is, it's my team and I, we create products and services to help our parent organization, which or it's called in the United States a nonprofit plan administrator. And
Wow.
so what they do is they manage 1,600 special needs trusts. So a special needs trust in the United States is something that you set up to take care of beneficiaries who have things like autism, Down
Okay.
syndrome, other
Mhm.
things like that, where they may be like mentally handicapped, children or adults, they really can't take care of themselves. And so my parent organization is the one that does that. And so we do that through a couple things. One is we have a software program. It's like a SaaS program that you hear probably throughout other technology people. So it's all in the cloud. We developed it in-house, but what it does is it's like a workflow, customer relation management, CRM, for my parent organization. And
Right.
so it gives them efficiency where they can manage this 1,600 special needs trust with just 7 people. So in comparison, if you look at a bank, the
Mm.
bank, like here in the United States, like a for-profit trust division, they'll have maybe 2,000 clients, but they'll have like 60 to 80, people in that group because everything's still
Yeah.
done manually.
Mm.
But it's really interesting. I would say, just given my background, I come from more of an investment perspective. So I've spent most of my career around venture capital, private equity, entrepreneurship, where I've done direct investments, worked with something what's called a family office. I don't know if you've heard that term. So it's very, very wealthy people that set up their own investment arm and you invest on their behalf to look at different opportunities. But my background has predominantly been in technology. And so
Right.
of the 28 deals that I've been involved with over my career, 7 have eventually gone public through some capacity, whether it's
Um,
direct listing like an IPO, or they got acquired by a publicly traded company, or through another vehicle and things like that. And it's been very interesting. I've touched everything but pharmaceuticals. So, medical devices, software, consumer products,
mhm.
energy, things like that. And so, that's a real quick intro about my background and what I do.
Wow, that sounds very exciting. And yeah, that's a lot of things that you do. Could you tell us how you landed up in this field?
So, truthfully, the parent organization reached out to me through mutual friends and through my network. They originally wanted me to join their board 3 years ago for the nonprofit. And so we've known each other for about 3 years now, and they've known about like my work, they've known about me professionally. And when I left the family office earlier this year in January, we had mutual friends, and word got back to them that I was available and looking for my next opportunity. And so my predecessor, she is retiring, and they wanted to find somebody with a different type of skill set and different experience set. And so,
Yeah.
given my background, and I've dabbled, it's a nice way of saying it, but I've been exposed to a lot of different things, right? I said I was
Yeah.
I was educated as an engineer, but I've worked in finance. I've worked
Right.
in the legal division. I've started my own business. I've helped
Oh,
create a nonprofit. So it's a little bit of everything that's kind of
yeah.
prepared me to get to me this moment. And it was a very good fit interview, right? Where
Mm.
they felt very comfortable with me. They felt very comfortable with my skill set. And ultimately they felt that I was the right person to kind of move this forward. They joke, usually they use a search firm to help fill these positions, and they just
Mm.
felt really good about my background and also me as a person to do the
Right.
right thing with the organization and the beneficiaries and the mission, that they're like, yeah, we don't need to use a search firm. We feel really good about this.
Wow. Very interesting background story as well. Yeah. Um, so you were saying that you're always in smaller businesses and you rise to the top. Could you tell us more about that and what's the benefit of working with smaller companies compared to very large organizations?
I think it's a couple of things. It's where if you work with smaller businesses, you know, you can really stand out if you're a top performer, your
Mhm.
actions and your outputs will effectively speak for themselves, right? Whereas if you
Right.
work for a larger corporation, there are benefits to a larger corporation, right? You have more resources, but you're one of like tens of thousands, right? So the largest employer I've ever worked for is 300 people in the United
Wow.
States. So I've worked as small as like five, and as many as most as 300. But for me, I've always thrived in that situation where, as a top performer, I feel that my output is not hidden. Whereas in a larger corporation, there might be other issues, with unfortunately politics,
Right.
survival of certain divisions and groups.
Mm.
It's really important to really align yourself with people that want to help you with your network and grow. And that's something where, I was just talking to somebody yesterday at a different conference. You kind of see that as you rise through the ranks, where when you're younger, you're very competitive with everybody else. And then there's a transition point in your life, both personally and professionally, where you realize you're going to get further helping other people and helping your peers. It's a little bit of that pay it forward mentality, a little
Mm.
bit of karma, things like that. And it's very interesting to see as you progress through your career the type of people you want to work with versus those that you don't. And so for me, I've always felt very comfortable in a smaller environment. Not a lot of
Mm.
people are comfortable in a smaller environment. Some people, have to work in a larger environment for whatever reasons it may be. And so finding what's important to you and where you thrive and how you perform. I would
Right.
also say this last thing is, if you talk to anybody who's an entrepreneur and they've worked for themselves, once they've realized what they can do and have that
Mm.
opportunity to work for themselves, it's very, very difficult for them to go back and work for somebody else. So
Mm.
I would say it's a very, very interesting pathway to choose through your life.
Right. Mm. Wow. Yeah, that's an interesting take on it. And yeah, often we hear from a lot of people from large businesses, but it's nice to hear perspective from someone who's worked in smaller businesses as well. And that thrives in one. That's very interesting. And finally, could you tell us what you like the most about what you do?
I think it's two things. One is, if you look at everybody on the executive staff, we're all
Right.
mission driven,
Mm-hmm.
meaning uh, we feel that there's a very important responsibility to our beneficiaries. We're there to help be their advocate. We're here to help them, live their lives because unfortunately, they have some form of true disability,
Mm-hmm.
and they really do need the help. So that's one thing. I think the other thing is, something that drew me to this opportunity was I wanted to be able to look back 5 years from now and say, yes, I had an opportunity to build something, right? We took something where my predecessor kind of got it off the ground. I'll be the next person to kind of hopefully take it to the next level and be successful. And then hopefully 5 years from now, when I look back, I'll be like, yeah, we built this, we went through our journey, and then whoever the next person is, we're able to take that to, they're able to take that to the next level or do something else with it. But it's something that you can really take ownership or pride in. And that's
Right.
really what appealed to me, given the different opportunities I had. This one gave me that one, whereas other ones, I could have gotten another investment position. I could have joined any team. I could have run anything I wanted, but it did not give me that type of satisfaction or the
Mm.
opportunity to have that satisfaction. It's kind of like that question where you had earlier, what's the difference between working with a really large company or a small company?
Yeah.
In this situation, I can see the impact and I can see the benefits for everybody. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
working for a large company, you're part of a machine, you're part of a cog. And
Yeah.
if that makes you happy, that's great. But at the end of the day, it depends what you want to do.
That's very true, everything that you said. Thank you so much for your time today. We really enjoyed speaking to you. Yeah, Yeah. we really appreciate what you've done for our channel and thank you so much. I hope that we can keep in touch and we'd love to interview your friend's wife as well, who's from Mauritius.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say, the last thing I would add is, something that's helped me get to where I am today is I've always had mentors.
Right.
10 years above me, with different experiences. So they think through, or they can see the different pathways in a career, which is really important, especially for working for a large business in the beginning, and it still continues with you through your life. And then even today, like I'm mentoring probably 3 or 4 people that are under 30, and they're working through their careers and they're going through the same issues that I kind of walked through, but I can offer a different perspective for them to think about. And I think that's the most important thing, is finding people that will give you a different perspective, because
Right.
you don't know what you don't know. And with that,
Mm.
it'll help you think through what's the right thing for you, or recognize certain pitfalls for your career, and the thing is, it's time, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you don't want to work like in a career path, then all of a sudden within 5 years you find out, something happened, and a division's getting let go,
Yeah.
or a technology's come up, from or some law has passed and you didn't realize it, and then now all of a sudden,
Mm.
you and your family are out in the street, trying to figure out how to put everything together.